First thing we got, packing foam. Next up, the install CD and user manual. We've got a power brick. We've got a super thick HDMI cable with the little Canadian maple leaf on it. I don't know what the deal is with that, but this is actually a really awesome cable. We've got regular USB to regular USB. We've got an actual remote that actually works and serves a real purpose. We've got 1.5 meters of monitor cable goodness. Last thing out of the box is the actual document camera. One of the things that really sets the V508 here apart from the V500S that I reviewed in the past is this is pretty much a standalone unit. You've got your VGA input, your VGA output, so you connect your computer to this and you connect whatever projector you're using to this. It's got USB input, HDMI output, and it's even got an SD card slot so you can load your files onto it for easy viewing. Right here is the power input, and yeah, those are all of the different ports it has. Right here on the front, one thing I do like, it does have a Kensington lock. It is the new style, so if you've got one of the old style locks, you're probably going to have to get one of the new ones to use that. On the side here, we do have the infrared port, because this uses a remote control. Like I said, standalone unit. You don't even have to be near this to run it. You can use the little remote, and from my testing, it works perfectly. Next thing I want to point out is right here on the top of the unit, it does have all of the buttons, so you can go through the menus and you can change all of your settings through this. It also has a real power button, and it works flawlessly. It's just as easy to use this as it is to use the control, and honestly, I love having my controller built into the unit itself. This is a major upgrade. The 508 compared to the 500S, this is a totally different ballpark, a totally different league. It's a totally different sport. Voila! Through the power of moving magic, we are now seeing video coming out of the V508 from JOYUSING. This is the video that you can pull out of it. I am able to get 1080p at 30 frames per second. If I lower it to 720p, then I am able to get 60 frames per second. But just for the sake of this video, let's stick with 1080p and see what we can do. You can see that I do have autofocus turned on, so as I'm moving my hand, it is trying to focus back on everything, and it seems to work pretty well. It's also very fast. Let's give ourselves a nice test of the writing experience on the V508. Now, one thing I do want to point out before I go any further is that I am connected only through USB to my PC. I am recording through OBS, and I'm getting a really great experience out of it. However, in order to use the hardware features and the software features, you really got to use that visualizer software that comes with the product. Also, if you want to use the hardware that's on the device itself, you do need to be connected directly to some sort of video source. For instance, connecting it to a projector or connecting it to a TV or a monitor. Then you have access to all of the little buttons that are on there and everything that you use with the control. So here we are in the visualizer software. Over to this side, we've got select all, deselect all, and import file. This is where you can import pictures, or if you've taken photos or videos using the visualizer software itself, they do show up over here. You can select them all, deselect them all, or just select them individually by clicking around. Right here, we've got our automatic focus and automatic exposure. I do have both of those checked. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck the focus, and you can see it goes to 50, or right there in the middle. If I lower it down, then it focuses back in on the paper. Usually I don't like to use the autofocus mode because sometimes you get the weird in and out artifacting. I kind of like it like this. Auto exposure, on the other hand, works pretty well. When I move my hand away, things just bounce back to the color they're supposed to be. Right here, you're able to select all of the different resolutions to choose from, all the way down to 320 by 240 and all the way up to 4K. Right here, we've got the freeze mode. Yeah, you can't see it, but I'm moving my hand. We've got, next button here is the contrast, brightness, and saturation settings. I do have mine set up like this. It works very well for my particular lighting situation. And yeah, I'm just going to click OK there. Next button here is the automatic edging tool. You can see it does find the edges of my paper. This is extremely handy if you're going to take a photograph of a specific section. And you can then use the OCR button here to scan the text in, and it works incredibly well. Next button here is picture-in-picture. You can see this little picture of a webcam. If I had a webcam connected to this computer, it would be showing up right here. If I was doing some recording in OBS, this would be absolutely perfect to have myself show up on my screen. And yes, you can drag myself anywhere you want to. The next button here is a split screen, so you click that and it opens up whatever image you have selected in your gallery. If you have other images here, it would pop those up instead. Of course, we've already seen the camera button in use. You've got all of these different features. I go over them in another video. We've got the video recording feature here. You would click that button there to start a recording. You can select whatever resolution you want to use. This right here would be ideal if you were just recording this part of the page, and it would create a file at that resolution. You could also do full screen, and it works just as well. Over here to the right, we've got our different tools you can use to mess with the screen. Check out my other video for more info on that. We've got a little magnifier. We can zoom in, we can zoom out, we can rotate the image, and we can have it self-adapt. Now, one of the things I really enjoy doing with these document cameras is flipping it up and using it as a webcam. And this is the absolute default quality straight out of the camera, this V508 from JOYUSING. Yeah, this is the webcam quality. That's pretty sharp. I'm genuinely surprised. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn my good microphone off here, and let's see what the little microphones on this bad boy can do. There we go. I've switched off my good microphone. The audio and video you are getting right now are coming out of the V508 from JOYUSING, and I think it's actually pretty passable. You are hearing a little bit of a hum in the background, and that's just because we've got the air conditioner running right now, and I do have a ceiling fan going. The noise canceling on there is just not as good as, well, a professional microphone. But for quality purposes, if you're using this in a Zoom meeting or something, this is perfectly passable. This is an acceptable microphone, and this is amazing video for a document camera as a webcam. The V508 here from JOYUSING is a pretty spectacular product. I love that this is basically a standalone unit. You don't have to use a computer to get everything out of this thing. It's got the controls built in right here. It's got an infrared remote. It's got all of the controls right here. Everything works really well. You've got these inputs and outputs right here. This is something that the normal teachers are going to need. This is something a normal business is going to need. You're going to need to connect this up to a computer. You're going to want to have the computer go through this up to a big screen. That's something that's super important. And yes, you do pay a little bit more for one like this, but in my opinion, it is totally worth it. This is worth every single penny I spent on it. I am super impressed.